What kind of food should I give the cat? Dry, wet, or cooked at home? Let's look at the pros and cons of each option. You will learn about what Lotta cat eats at the end of the video. So watch the video to the end. Well, let's start with the fact that it is absolutely impossible to give a cat. This is salty food with spices and seasonings, onions and garlic, as well as fatty meat, for example pork, lamb or duck. Remember that the health of a pet primarily depends on its food. Lean pieces of beef, rabbit, chicken and turkey are best suited for feed. Of course, raw meat is much healthier than boiled meat, since it retains all the value of the components. However, before giving it to the cat, it is desirable to freeze the meat for 2 days in order to get rid of harmful bacteria and parasites. It is better to boil fish for a cat, so that it would be easier to clean it from bones. In addition, you can add a little vegetable puree to the fish. For example, from zucchini or carrots. If you don't want the hassle of cooking, then pet stores have a huge selection of ready-made food. We will tell you how to choose it correctly now. In the meantime, subscribe to the channel and like it. So, which food is preferable to dry or wet? There is no definite answer to this question. On the one hand, dry food is cheaper and does not spoil in a cat's bowl, even if it lies in it for quite a long time. On the other hand, wet food is not only food, but also an additional source of much-needed water for a fluffy. We already talked about what kind of water to give to a cat in the last video, and you can watch it by following the link in the description of this video. Now let's get back to the feed. Buying even dry, even wet food, you should pay attention to its composition. We will not name specific brands and manufacturers, but we will say that most of them produce food that does not bring any benefit to the cat. Here, for example, the composition of the feed allegedly from beef. In fact, there is only 4% of cow meat here, i.e., there are only 3 grams in a 75-gram package. The rest is moisture, and wheat or rice flour, which brings practically no benefit to Fluffy. But the composition of this dry chicken feed looks much better. There are as many as 32% of chickens here. So, when choosing a feed, be sure to look at its composition. Well, how do you understand that the food suited your pet? Firstly, the cat's stool should be normal and not have a sharp, unpleasant smell. And secondly, the cat should not shed outside of the molting season in autumn and spring, and the animal's coat should have a characteristic shine. It is he who testifies that the cat receives all the necessary vitamins and minerals. So, what does Lotta cat eat? In the morning and in the evening, specially prepared food for her, for example boiled fish with squash puree, or raw chicken or beef. And during the day, dry food of the average price category with a meat content of at least 30% is always poured into her bowl. Wet food, pieces of meat in jelly are rarely given, as a reward. And what do you feed your cat? Write in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of interesting information on pet care. See you soon.